Hello, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another session of Virtual Spiritual Saturday. And today we'll continue on to the last section of the promise. And we're going to have a final session next week to wrap up this whole story of Rinpoche's called The Promise. And then I'll give you a special bonus next week. All right, you will find out what. And if you have been following me, then you'll know what I'm talking about. It was a request from Jacinta. All right, as per usual, I will check who's on. Let me go on to Kechara Forest Retreat. Okay, I see myself. Better mute. Don't hear my own. Okay, good morning, David, King Hoi, Alice, who's here, Yiling, Sharon, and 5 other people. I'm not sure who. Yin Ping. Good morning, everybody. So, welcome to Virtual Spiritual Saturday. And let me see. Okay, the last week I was covering about Rinpoche's how he came to Malaysia on a request of. I read the section about where Lati Rinpoche had a council and requested Rinpoche to come to Malaysia, right? And also the Bodhgaya Vajrayogini meeting Reverend Kun, the two incidents combined with much earlier, the previous weeks I was reading about Kechara Gangchen Rinpoche, asking Rinpoche to teach, and his first group of students were a bunch of Malaysians. It's a group of Malaysians. A group of Malaysians. Good morning, Jillian. Good morning. Hi, Jonathan. Nice of you to join us. And Carmen Koo and Wei Ting. Good morning, everybody. So how's everybody? Having good breakfast? I'm sure you're having breakfast and watching me. No problem. Don't worry. I'm not a holy person, so it's no problem. Take your time, enjoy yourself, listen, and if you have any questions, let me know of previous weeks or today. As far as I know, I don't recall anybody besides Jacinta who asked me a question that's pending. If you have asked any questions and I have not answered, let me know. Sometimes just, remind me. All right, and so let me see. I don't see any questions. It's okay. Luminous generosity. Oh yeah, this is a section on Rinpoche's work in. We should read on this. I read this already. Creating a legacy. Early connections with with Malaysia, sent abroad to raise funds. I think I read that. Creating a legacy. Dharma pioneer in a foreign land. Let me see. This is on page 267 if you're following me on your own book. A New Beginning. Okay, I think I should read this. Yes, I should read this. And it's nostalgic. When you look at Rinpoche here, the pictures on page 269, on the following page in 270, you see Rinpoche extremely skinny. Extremely skinny. He's young and skinny. Okay, let's start. Tsem Rinpoche arrived in Malaysia with just 2 bags, one containing his personal items and the other full of money pills, chakras, and other holy items blessed by Satrap and Dorje Shugden taking trance in the oracle. To his surprise, there was a grand welcome for him at the airport in Malaysia. A large group of around 30 people and a fleet of Mercedes vehicles awaited his arrival. Rinpoche was overwhelmed, to say the least. At only 27 years old, Rinpoche was considered a young Lama, and it was his first time in Southeast Asia. He knew nothing about the local culture, and he had very little public teaching experience at the time. However, with faith in Dorje Shugden and belief in what his teachers saw in him, Rinpoche was determined to do his best and go all the way with this precious new assignment. Rinpoche embarked on an extensive 3-month teaching tour around Malaysia, which included Penang, Ipoh, Dolok Intan, and Greek, a small town in northern state of Perak. Although he was young and unknown, his teachings and initiations were extremely well received. Older students recall how he was able to change the perception and understanding of Buddhism completely through his explanations of Dharma. Others recall how his care and compassion for everyone around him was evident. He often received standing ovations from the audience. In addition to group teachings, Rinpoche also gave countless private audiences to those who came to seek personal counsel and divinations. Having heard of this young and very powerful Lama, people came in droves and would wait for hours just to get a chance to meet Rinpoche and receive a personal blessing. Rinpoche often gave audiences to people for up to 18 hours a day and was known to work tirelessly until daybreak without rest. Something Rinpoche still does today when the need arises. Due to his grueling schedule and lack of rest, Rinpoche suffered many physical ailments such as severe neck pains, migraines, and aches all over his body and constant chills. Still, he endured and never requested a single day of rest. Throughout the entire time, he kept remembering his fellow monks who were living without a roof over their heads and continued to do everything he could during the time he was abroad. Okay, that was it. Basically, during this period of time, Rinpoche was very, very young. And Rinpoche came to Malaysia, and it was his time where he was very traditional. This is probably during the 1993 period. Yeah, Rinpoche first came to Malaysia in 1993. And wow, it was quite a long time ago. And during the time, this was a teaching tour. It was just to raise funds as requested by Lati Rinpoche. All right. So during this time, he worked. He met people, and usually in Malaysia that time, it was very traditional in a sense that Rinpoche was very traditional, and the expectation was very traditional in the sense that it was a Dharma talk on a throne, or it was a ritual, it was initiation, it was a on a personal basis. A lot of people requested Rinpoche to come to bless the altars, to clean the altars. Rinpoche used to say that to tell us that because Malaysians that time, that generation were concerned about their altars, and they felt unclean. They were unclean and they were not qualified to clean the altars. So they would get a monk to do that, which is Rinpoche or someone else, and they dare not touch their Kuan Yin. So Rinpoche would be like, oh my God, he was clean, because it's years and years of grime and dirt on the altar, and they never clean it because they're afraid. So they thought it was bad luck. So so he had to clean it for them, and he enjoyed it. He enjoyed those, and then sometimes I'm sure Rinpoche, knowing Rinpoche, he would definitely give a little talk, give explanations, especially if they understood English. And I think one of Rinpoche's major draw is because he spoke English, and he could explain things in a simple layman terms that people understood. And I've heard recording, I don't know if you have heard, I think there's some still on YouTube of Rinpoche's early teachings. Rinpoche was really traditional, and Rinpoche went very fast. It was like, Laman Tsongkhapa will give you this, blah, 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 blah. It's almost like a train, and it's full of facts, and it was very traditional. The next part section, okay. So what happened was, that was my recollection of how Rinpoche told us. And he went from one center to another center to another center. So just imagine if you were Rinpoche at that young age, you were shuffled along to a foreign country the people you don't know, they're hospitable. Rinpoche said he experienced everybody was very, very hospitable, and but you're very young. So one thing about Rinpoche is that when that was not what he wanted to do. He wasn't planning to go and give teachings, to give initiations, to give practices. And in fact, Rinpoche told us that just before traveling to raise funds, he had to receive a whole slew. I think he took a long time, a month or so. I can't remember the length of time, but I do remember Rinpoche saying it was very long. So he had to receive initiations. And then he had to go through all the rituals. I need to make sure he knew them very well, and it's all written down in notes so that when he was qualified to give the initiations, and and he had the ritual know-how to do it, and that was the young Rinpoche at that time. It was all crammed into Rinpoche in a very short period of time, and that time. I think Rinpoche, it was Cancer Rinpoche who gave the teaching. And then when Rinpoche was in Malaysia, of course, there was a lot of miraculous signs, rainbows, and it was said that Rinpoche had to do exorcisms sometimes, and I was told, but I don't have a particular story of an exorcism, but I'm sure Rinpoche did. And also, there were signs for a lot of people to see. And also, Rinpoche was able to do divination later on. And Rinpoche's divination is, of course, Dorje Shugden's divination, which Rinpoche doesn't like to do divination. But as a Lama, I think most Tibetan Lamas, Rinpoches, have one form or another, divination or one form or another, where they have to help people, so they have to do divinations. And usually divinations, there's many types of divinations, which I won't go into right now. I know some of you are interested. Rinpoche has written a blog post, especially on Dorje Shugden, and the whole instructions and the divination manual of Dorje Shugden divination is on Rinpoche's blog. But you can't do it. Although it's available there, the text, you can't do it because there's requirements. You need to go through retreats. Rinpoche obviously has completed those retreats. And Rinpoche said when you do the retreats to do the divination, your goal and purpose of doing the retreats shouldn't just be divination. All right? The goal of the retreats is to become enlightened. So it's important that you understand that. And anyway, Rinpoche had... let me explain one thing about why Rinpoche doesn't like divinations. Okay? I am sure a lot of people are fascinated by the topic divination. Why people don't like... why Rinpoche don't like divination is because divination is contacting a particular Buddha. And in Rinpoche's way, Rinpoche does two divinations, but primarily one. I've seen Rinpoche do divination, actually three. Okay, three. Rinpoche does divination by three methods. One divination which depends on the person. Okay, if the person's samaya is clean, Rinpoche will do this. The one divination Rinpoche does is vision. He just sees and he knows. And he will say, he said this is what he sees, and what's the meaning of what he saw, he will explain to the person. And usually if it's the person's samaya, meaning what is some samaya? Samaya is your connection with the Lama. So connection is not a distance as in, it's not that you are close to Rinpoche physically or you are far away. It's not. Samaya is your spiritual connection. Some people put samaya Rinpoche is very clean, although they don't see Rinpoche every day. Perhaps they see Rinpoche once a year, but their samaya is very clean because why? Rinpoche is because how do you maintain good samaya is whatever advice, whatever teachings, they try their best to uphold. When you try your best to uphold whatever teachings, instructions, advice, then what happens is your samaya becomes clean. Your connection with Rinpoche will be strong. So you do not need to be in front of Rinpoche, serving Rinpoche to have good samaya. You can be far away, you don't see Rinpoche. Like for many of us right now, we will not see Rinpoche till we've discovered his incarnation. So how do we maintain good samaya so that our prayers and our sadhanas, bear fruit and have result? Is that whatever advice, whatever instructions we were given before by Rinpoche or in the Dharma through teachings, we try our best to uphold. When we do our best, we forge a clean samaya Rinpoche. So when Rinpoche's incarnation come back, we have some kind of stronger connection. So we can build the connection even without being near Rinpoche. Everybody needs to understand this, all right? If you have any questions, let me know. Okay, where was I? Okay, 3 types of divination that I've seen Rinpoche do. One is vision, okay? Clairvoyance lah. Okay, that's one. Another one I've seen Rinpoche is mala, which Rinpoche doesn't do often. It's some kind of calculation of the mala, and then he would tell based on the mala, but which Rinpoche rarely does, but I've seen him do divination by mala, counting the mala beads. And then the third one, of course, I think a lot of especially the senior students and students who've been around Rinpoche, you would have seen the divination that's done by dice. And when anybody asks Rinpoche for divination, Rinpoche always use dice because that's the one that Rinpoche was trained in. And that was the one that Rinpoche received the transmission directly from Dorje Shugden through the oracle. There's a full account of it on Rinpoche's blog. On Dorje Shugden divination. Just look it up. Dorje Shugden divination. All right? I think that's what the blog post is called. But anyway, so these are the 3 types of divinations that Rinpoche does. All right? And why Rinpoche doesn't like to do divination specifically, especially requested by people, is because 2 reasons. I can think of. One of them is because some people may not follow through the result of divination. Usually the result of divination comes in 2 ways. It tells you what's going on if the person asks for it, or how to solve a problem. So how to solve a problem usually involves pujas, practices, which the Rinpoche can spin it both ways lah. Meaning, if the person do not have the financial capability, Rinpoche would request the person to do practices or retreats. Okay, so some people when the divination comes out, sometimes it's just do Dharma work. Thank you very much, Sharon. You posted the post on Dorje Shugden's dice divination. Sometimes the divination result is do a certain action as well that they may not follow through. So what happens is it's not good for the person because then later if they need dire help again, and then divination needs to be done for this person, because they didn't follow the initial divination, the samaya is weakened. So when the next time Rinpoche does divination, the result will not come very clear. I've seen this many times in the earlier days before the current attendance. The time when I first met Rinpoche, I assisted Rinpoche before. I didn't know what it was. I knew it was divination, but I didn't understood what it was, what it meant. Because before the divination, usually Rinpoche asked me to light a stick of incense to purify the box where the dice divination is done. Right? For some people, Rinpoche has to purify many, many times. And it was an indication that this person's samaya not so clean. Perhaps there were divination that was done for this person in the past, and this person didn't follow through. So when Rinpoche was asking for this person, the answer comes out very erratic. Sometimes this, sometimes that. So because why is the karma from not following the initial divination? So that's one of the reasons why Rinpoche do not like to give divination, is because many times people do not have faith in the protector enough to follow through to actually go through. Or some people, they go do it halfway and then they give it up. Some people, there's many ways in which people don't follow through the advice and the result of the divination. So that's why Rinpoche feels that it shouldn't be just for any small trivial matter. And then the next thing is, The other reason is because a lot of people are asking divination for their family, whether they get a husband, whether they get a wife, whether their relationship, their career, their businesses. It's got nothing to do with Dharma. It's got nothing to do with improving themselves, Dharma, and sometimes when the divination is given, people stray away from the Dharma. People do less Dharma, do more samsara. So that's the other reason, the bigger reason that Rinpoche feels when a lot of divination is given, people might be, they're happy, and then that's it. They've got their problem solved, and bye-bye. They do their own thing, and then what happens is when they do their own thing, then somehow something comes up again, something worse sometimes, and because of karma, they have some worse situation, and then they come back to Rinpoche. And so Rinpoche feels reluctant to do divinations is because it does not necessarily lead people, sometimes does not necessarily lead the person to do more Dharma, to be more spiritual, to be a better person. Does not. So, although divination it is from Dorje Shugden, but the purpose of the reason for the divination by the person asking the divination is usually not necessarily for Dharma, for benefiting all sentient beings. So the difference in motivation may not be good long term. So that's why Rinpoche feels reluctant and would want people to do Dharma work and to do Dorje Shugden's practice, and because most of the time anyway, it's a matter of doing rituals and pujas to alleviate a problem, a difficulty, a situation. So when you do Dorje Shugden practice, you do the retreats, you can do it yourself. You can alleviate your problems yourself, right? So more importantly is when you do the Dharma, and you learn the Dharma, you get involved in the Dharma, you do your own learning and spiritual and Dharma work, Dharma volunteering work, sadhanas, pujas, retreats. Then you amass the merits and you solve your own problems. That's what Rinpoche would hope for all of us. And because anyway, Rinpoche knew that he will not be around forever, so now is the time when we rely on Dorje Shugden. And how do we rely on Dorje Shugden? It's not just, when there's a problem, you ask Dorje Shugden. It's that you need to build the relationship with him. Dorje Shugden is not a stranger that we need to get to know better so that he will help us. When they say in build a relationship with Dorje Shugden, it's actually to purify the karma. But they just put it in a nicer way. Okay? Because we have obscurations, we have negative karma that prevents Dorje Shugden from coming to our aid. So just because when we have problems, that's why never ever pray to Dorje Shugden, make offerings to Dorje Shugden, and ask Dorje Shugden to help us only when we have problems. That's not what Rinpoche is telling us. We should do the pujas, we should do his mantra, we should do his practice. The diamond path that's being sold on Vajra Secrets and Kechara outlets, that you should do if you are okay with doing the rituals. Otherwise, Rinpoche has simpler prayers on the website, on the blog that you can recite, and the mantra. We should build the relationship constantly because we have a lot of negative karma. So don't only wait when there's a big avalanche of negative karma coming our way. There's some crisis in our lives, whether it's business, whether it's relationship, then you expect Dorje Shugden to do a miracle from that. And true enough, Dorje Shugden can do miracles for you, but you have to do your practice. You have to do your part as well. Okay? That's what the Buddha said. The Buddha cannot take your karma away, your negative karma away. The Buddha cannot absorb everything all negative from you. He can show you the way. So Dorje Shugden also cannot do that for you, but through Dorje Shugden's practice, you can purify karma, because Dorje Shugden himself is an enlightened being. So when we do his pujas, we do his rituals, we are purifying. And when we do it constantly, what's the other benefit? Besides, he helps us when in times of need, he holds at bay certain types of negative karma that is huge. He can hold it at bay, And as we continue practicing, we purify it, we lessen it to a point where we purify it completely. Hopefully, But to purify it completely will depend not just on Dorje Shugden, actually. It will depend on you learning the Dharma and applying. Combined with Dorje Shugden's practice, then you purify it completely. I can tell you for sure, from experience, just on Dorje Shugden's practice cannot purify all your negative karma. Definitely cannot. But it can hold a lot of negative karma at bay, so that when we learn, we practice, we can lessen the effect. So just because we have averted a problem, a disaster, when we have Dorje Shugden, when we're doing Dorje Shugden's practice, doesn't mean that it's not there. It's just sometimes Dorje Shugden's holding it at bay. So he's waiting for you. He's holding it at bay for your benefit, so that you practice, you learn the Dharma, and you can purify it. So if you don't purify it, and one day, our karma comes up, our faith wavers, sometimes we get distracted with work, family, with fun, with holidays, with good times, that karma can come back to us. Okay, very important. Everybody must understand that. Sorry, I kind of digressed from Rinpoche's story. Okay, this is interesting. Sharon asked this question here. Thank you for posting the link to Dorje Shugden's Dice with Nation, Sharon. How do we advise people who pray to Dorje Shugden to win before going to casinos or to strike lottery? Sharon, it's a good question. It depends on the person, how well you know this person. Because a lot of people who think to pray to Dorje Shugden to strike a lottery, right? They have a certain mindset. So if these people feel that they need to pray, and just allow them, encourage them, and then just let them know a little bit at a time, as they win the lottery. Some of them, because that's their level. Because you want to talk about purifying karma, they may not fully believe that. You have to be skillful in this situation. That's why Rinpoche allows Dorje Shugden to be promoted as a wealth deity, as a wealth god, as what its skillful means, because it will reach to a certain group of people that require that, that needs that will not think higher than that. So what happens when they pray, they connect with Dorje Shugden, their imprints are planted in their mind for this life, for future lives. So, and then some of them win, so it will encourage them to do the practice. As they do the practice, they will do more. They will do more offerings and pray more, recite his mantra more, and then they purify more. More imprints are planted in the mind for future when they do Dharma. So it really depends on the person that you wish to talk, you wish to connect with, and because for some people, when you want to talk about higher things, it may not be appropriate. So it really depends on. I cannot say, don't tell them, Dorje Shugden will not give you the wealth, you will purify your karma so you get. No. I mean, it depends on the audience. Because for some people, and Dorje Shugden is powerful, and he has shown miracles like the ones here in KFR, the chapel outside. He's known for that. And Dorje Shugden Rinpoche had already requested Dorje Shugden in trance, please show miracles for the benefit of people. And Dorje Shugden agreed and said, yes, in this time that is necessary. When the time is right, I will show miracles. He has said that in the trance here in KFR. All right? So it is possible for miracles like that to happen based on the individual. That's why, Sharon, you and I will not strike a lottery ticket and all, because what? It does not help our practice, because we know better. We don't do Dorje Shugden practice to strike a lottery, although we want, we think for people who are in Dharma for a while, and that's why for people who are in Dharma for a while, they know enough. And then they have this thinking, I keep praying, doing black tea and praying. I've studied Lam Rim and all that. Show me a sign. If you give me a lottery ticket, if you give me a promotion, I will help Kechara. I will help your practice. I will donate this. I will donate that. Who you kidding? Who you kidding? Seriously. You think Dorjishin can be bribed just so that he gives you something, so you will do something for him? No, Dorjishin is not like that. He cannot be bribed. He's a Buddha. He can see through us, our attachments and our negative karma, obscurations. Dorjishin does not need the money. He needs us to transform. If you are an advanced practitioner, you cannot think on that level anymore. And people who think on that level, they have not learned enough Dharma. So when you have learned enough Dharma, when you are in Dharma long enough, you will not ask Dorjishin, you're not bribe Dorjishin lah. If you help me with my job, if you help me with my business, I will definitely donate for you. I've heard some people say that before. And, most of the time, in fact, all the time, if you are already in Dharma long enough, Dorjishin will not. And in fact, if you ask in divination, there are some cases that when you ask when Dorjishin takes trance, there's some questions, there's something to that effect. Dorjishin just ignore it. he just say, it's not so important. Then we'll go to the next question. So you have to understand how Dorjishin's mind works. He's an enlightened being. He's a Buddha. So he will benefit you based on your level of practice. So, going back to your question, Sharon, right? How do you advise people? If the person does not know enough Dharma, you will say, he will help you definitely, he will help you. Whether he will help you win, it depends on your karma. Whether you have it or not, whether it will really help you or not, And then he'll do more than just help you win the lottery, He'll help you overcome problems, spirits, he will help you overcome your negative karma. You just tell them like that. And don't say he will not. So it really depends on the person's level in when you give advice like that. All right? Okay, anyway, where was I? Divination. I was talking about divination of Dorjishin and earlier days when Rinpoche came, and Rinpoche gave a lot of teachings. And some of the teachings that Rinpoche gave, Rinpoche taught a lot about Lama Tsongkhapa. He didn't teach about protector practice. No. He taught about Lama Tsongkhapa. He taught a lot of Tara. Because these are the deities and practices that Dorjishin told him to teach. Lama Tsongkhapa, Tara, Manjushri, Zambala. Yeah, these deity practices. And then he taught the Lam Rim, three principal paths. He taught about mind training. The ones that Rinpoche used to give about 8 verses of thought transformation. He would teach things like that to people so that they have a grounding and understanding of the Dharma. That's very important. And that was what Rinpoche used to do. And then Rinpoche would meet a lot of people and meet a lot of people, do a lot of blessings, do a lot of rituals. And Rinpoche did it tirelessly and raised the funds. And you know what? Rinpoche raised the funds in a couple of months only, in a few months. And then when he went back, he requested the help of some Malaysians to help him bring the money back. And when it was brought back in cash. Because that time there was no, the monastery doesn't have a credit card. And I don't know about the banking system in India at that time, but I remember Rinpoche say it was brought back in cash. And so he needed the help of people to bring the cash, he dare not bring it back by himself. So he got a number of people accompanying Rinpoche, and then in the monastery there was a big puja, and Lati Rinpoche was sitting on the throne, and along with the high lamas, had Rinpoche presented the cash to the monastery, to Lati Rinpoche, but who represents the monastery. And Rinpoche said that Lati Rinpoche was very, very happy, very pleased with Rinpoche, and he cried. He teared. He teared because he was very grateful and he was proud of Rinpoche. Okay, Alice has a question. Pastor David, I heard that since young, if we keep look and ask for future, it will shorten our own lifespans. Besides, the person tell us the future will shorten their life and power too. Is it true? I don't know. Rinpoche has never said that though. Rinpoche never said that. Rinpoche does divination a lot. Maybe that's why Rinpoche never said that. What Rinpoche did say that how Rinpoche do divination is interesting now. Rinpoche do divination by, it's like a map one, In his mind, it's like a map. So if you do something, it will lead you to this. If you do something, it will lead you there. So sometimes some things are time sensitive, meaning you need to do some action now, and then you get to this result. So if you don't do the action, let's say you want to get a job and you have to do a puja now. Rinpoche will tell you, okay, do this puja now. If you don't do the puja, your time will pass. So you have to do the puja. Then when you do the puja, the interview come and then you get the job. If you don't do the puja, you don't get the interview, it will pass. The karma will pass, you will not get the job. For example, I'm saying. So there are some things that so Rinpoche said, what happens is in divination, right? In order to get a result, right, you have to do certain things to get there. So, and some things to get there, the karma for it got time one, So if the time finish, your karma will finish. So you will not get this result. Interesting, isn't it? This is what I remember Rinpoche said. I don't fully understand it, but I'm telling you how Rinpoche said it. So Rinpoche sometimes tell us in Kechara, right, when we make decisions in organization, sometimes Rinpoche tell us we have to finish this fast now, otherwise the karma will finish. That's why Rinpoche sometimes will rush us to do certain projects, to finish certain things fast, because the karma for it got window one. Once the window closed already, cannot, then Rinpoche will have to find another way. So about shortening the life, Rinpoche had never said that. But Rinpoche did say, in order to help people, to benefit people, right, you need good karma. So that's why a lot of temple mediums, the deities that enter are not enlightened. And they do not have sufficient good karma. So a lot of temple mediums, what happens is they help people. Because the deities are real, but they're not high level. They are low level. So they're not enlightened. So because they're not enlightened, right, they are not able to help the medium. So what happens is when they help people, because the deity's intention is good, they have the power, but they have to use the medium. So the medium, in order to help people, the karma is used up. So a lot of them, they die young. This is what I remember Rinpoche said. No, Rinpoche didn't tell me, Rinpoche told Pastor told me. Yeah, so maybe that's what it is. Because in order to help people, like doing divination is helping people. So when you help people and you don't have enough good karma, your good karma can be depleted. So one of the biggest source of good karma is our lifespan. If our good karma is not good, not a lot, it will eat up our lifespan. Okay. Jacinta, Pastor, sometime I was thinking we must visualize that Rinpoche is DS. But then there's a phrase where we must verbalize that, please clear the obstacles for Rinpoche to come back. Isn't it contradictory, as if we are talking to Rinpoche and yet DS sounds like another entity? Okay, I understand what you mean. What does it mean when you say visualize? Lama Tsongkhapa and DS is one, or Dorje Shugden and DS, Rinpoche and DS, and Lama Tsongkhapa and DS. It's not that you're talking to Rinpoche, you're requesting from Rinpoche. You are tapping into your devotion to Rinpoche to tap into the deity. I repeat, it's not talking to Rinpoche. You're not asking, when you visualize DS, you're not talking to Rinpoche, you're not praying to Rinpoche. You're praying to DS, but you are using your connection, your blessings of Rinpoche, which is stronger. If you talk to Doishin, you pray to Doishin directly, right, your connection will not be as strong as through your guru, because your guru, you have met him, you have heard his teachings, your karma, your affinity with Rinpoche will be stronger. And from him, the blessings come from the Lama all the way to the Buddha himself. So the blessings are very powerful and very potent. So when you visualize the deity and Rinpoche together, you're tapping into that connection, that blessings. You're not asking Rinpoche directly. Understand? Okay, so don't get confused. That's one. Another, that's not so. It's not a contradiction. You're not asking Rinpoche to clear obstacles for Rinpoche to come back. But it is also not contradictory when you pray to Rinpoche to clear obstacles. It is not. Why not? Why can't we ask Rinpoche? Because you know Rinpoche's incarnation line. You know Rinpoche has this long line of enlightened lamas. So that means Rinpoche is enlightened. He is attained. And the way Rinpoche passed away, which I'll tell you another time, is a huge indication of Rinpoche's level. All right? So what happened is, it is okay, it is not a contradiction even to ask Rinpoche, please clear the obstacles. That's why we do his name mantra, which we used to say long life mantra, but actually it is his name mantra. What is a name mantra? When you translate the name of the mantra, it is Rinpoche's name in Sanskrit. So you're asking the blessings of Rinpoche's incarnation line and his previous life. Rinpoche's incarnation line, you're requesting, the name mantra is meant to tap into the blessings of the incarnation line, all right, to come to us. So it can be directed. When Rinpoche was alive, it definitely is to direct, the blessing should be directed to Rinpoche to live long so that he can benefit more. He can teach more, he can do more Dharma work, he can do more practice, help more people. All right. So so that was the motivation. Now it's to request Rinpoche to come back. All right. So, but actually, the mantra is not a long life or swift rebirth mantra. It is his Rinpoche's name mantra. Okay. So I hope that is clear. It is not a contradiction. You can even request Rinpoche to clear obstacles. There's nothing wrong. Okay. So back to Rinpoche. What time is it now? I am at Dharma in a foreign land, returning home, keeping the connection. Oh, this one is interesting. Okay, let's read two more sections, all right? Keeping the connection. Rinpoche remained in Ganden after that first trip in 1992. Sorry, it was 1992, not 1993. But his impact in Malaysia and the region had already been felt. Over the next few years, many Malaysians would write to him or visit the monastery, constantly requesting him to return to Malaysia to teach and turn the wheel of Dharma. Out of great compassion and a deep wish to benefit more people, Rinpoche began to travel back and forth between Ganden and Malaysia to teach until his teachers finally advised him to remain in Malaysia and make it his permanent base. Rinpoche began to teach in private homes, giving many Manjushri Avalokiteshvara Ngesong Kundro Trapo Songchu initiations, although he was careful never to sell the Dharma by using these initiations as reasons to raise funds. Hi, good morning, Suzanne Tiao. I just saw your message. Often, these venues would be packed with hundreds of people who came to hear the words of this young but very powerful Lama. On the advice of His Eminence Kechara Gangchen Rinpoche transformed his teaching style from one that was traditional and strict to the multifaceted and contemporary approach that he employs until today, thus allowing him to reach more people from all walks of life. Regardless of style and approach, whenever Rinpoche taught the Dharma, those who listened would uncannily understand doctrines and concepts that were difficult to grasp, and a lot of hearts and minds opened up to the Dharma. A few Dharma centers in Malaysia and Singapore were established under his guidance, his spiritual guidance. However, it was not all rosy, as Rinpoche was still a Dharma pioneer in a country that had relatively little exposure to Tibetan Buddhism. Rinpoche encountered countless obstacles over the years as he labored to infuse Dharma into the minds of his students. From demanding, aggressive students to to lack of sponsorship, from language barriers to cultural shocks, Rinpoche confronted and overcame a multitude of hurdles that came his way while trying to bring Dharma to the masses. Some of the centers that he founded in the early days have since closed, which today Rinpoche humbly attributes to his lack of experience, although one wonders how ready the students were to receive the teachings of a high tantric master. Some of Rinpoche's other centers were offered up to his teachers, including Shakyamuni Dharma Center in Malaysia, which was offered to His Eminence Khenso Jampa Yeshe Rinpoche. Just as in every chapter of his life, Rinpoche never gave up on Dharma. He kept persevering. With every setback he experienced in these new lands, he would pick himself up and start all over again, facing every new challenge with even greater effort, tenacity, care, and always a smile. Around 2003, Tsem Rinpoche explored a new way of reaching out to more people by adopting lay clothes and seemingly going deeper into worldly activities. Rinpoche wished to connect with people who would otherwise not be interested in spirituality at all. With permission from his guru, His Eminence Khenso Jampa Yeshe Rinpoche, and his Dharma protector Dorje Shugden, Rinpoche one day turned to his bewildered students and friends and announced that he wanted to become a model. At that time, Rinpoche was 110 kgs and 6'2", making him bigger than the average model. His students merely looked at him and blinked. Within 1.5 years and with much discipline and determination, Rinpoche lost about 30 kgs and was in the best shape he had ever been in. With consistent hard work in the gym and regimented diet, Rinpoche became one of the most sought-after male models in the city, modeling in catwalk shows with top award-winning supermodels of the region and becoming the subject of much attention wherever he went. Even that was a Dharma teaching in itself. This total transformation showed his strength of mind and pure, focused discipline. He also showed his students that no matter how he looked or how much attention he received, his mind never wavered nor moved away from his spiritual practice and commitments. This is an example of the extent to which the highly attained Tibetan Lamas would skillfully go in order to draw people to the Dharma, by appealing to what they perceive as attractive. Rinpoche's actions seem to be in direct contradiction to the Dharma teachings. While Dharma is about renunciation and non-attached to external appearances, this new world of modeling, fashion, and material success was the exact opposite. However, during those few years, when Rinpoche manifested beauty and glamour, he remained unaffected, and at the height of his fame and physical condition, Rinpoche drew a large crowd of people who would never otherwise have been attracted to the Dharma. Many of those who were drawn to Dharma during Rinpoche's modeling years have since become some of his most senior students, me, following in Rinpoche's footsteps to use their lives for the benefit of others. So by engaging in what seemed to be the most samsaric of activities, Rinpoche still changed lives for the better. However, Tsem Rinpoche is always changing the methods with which he teaches. He now looks completely different from how he did then, as he cast off one outward form for another, proving at all times the fundamental Buddhist teaching of impermanence. Jacinta says, I may not get that now, but we'll keep that in mind. Thank you, Pastor. Let me give you in a different way before I go into this. Oh God, sorry, I have hiccups. When you are requesting Dorje Shugden's help, when you're asking Lama Tsongkhapa, when you're praying to Lama Tsongkhapa, you need to speak. You need to recite the mantra, which means you use the voice. You need to visualize, which is visual in your head, So that is a method to reach Lama Tsongkhapa's ears. All right? So when you recite the mantra, he will hear it. When you visualize, he will appear. Although he's there already, but that's one way to reach. So when you want to talk to someone, you use words, right? You use words, you use hand gestures like I do all the time. You gesture, you show something, you point at something. So it's a communication, right? The communication is what carries your message, what you have in mind, correct? So how you carry it doesn't matter. It can be hand gesture. It can be words. It can be pictures. Maybe you show a video, you show a picture. It can be many things. It can be more than that, but that's what comes to mind. So same thing with the Buddhas. In order to voice our aspirations, I need purification, purify my karma, I want to be enlightened, you have to use words, you have to use mantras, you have to recite the mantra, you have to recite prayers, right? So that's one method. So another method that adds to the effectiveness, because when we communicate, it's not one or another. When we communicate, it's a few things at the same time. We use our body language and our words and our facial expression to communicate something, right? So we use a few things at the same time. Same thing when we ask the Buddhas, we use a few at the same time. So in order to add the effectiveness of mantra offerings, prayers, we add visualizing the Doji Shukden as Rinpoche. It adds to the effectiveness of it. So that's why this has been taught by high lamas. It will add the blessings. It will add more. It becomes quicker and faster. So that it becomes one method, one extra method to reach the Buddha. So visualizing Doji Shukden. So it's a method, all right? It's an extra method to reach the Doji Shukden. So it's not a contradiction. Okay, I hope that helps. Then the other thing I mentioned was that you can ask the Rinpoche because Rinpoche is enlightened. As long as any attained being, doesn't have to be a bodhisattva, it can be an arhat when you pray. That's why in our refuge, we take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, right? So the Sangha can be attained beings, can be arhats, can be holy monks that hold their vows. When we make offerings to monks, we collect merit. Because they are Sangha, they are members of the Sangha, they hold their vows, so they are Sangha, they're worthy of making offerings. So what happens is, why I say that is because Rinpoche is our guru, representing the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, actually, all three at the same time. Or at the very least, he's a holy monk. So when you make offerings, when you pray to him, definitely there's blessings, definitely there's purification and merits. So that will go towards answering your prayer. Whether it's to purify him coming back, the next karma, you definitely work. So I'm just thinking of another angle for you to hopefully you understand that why it's not a contradiction. It's okay to even pray to Rinpoche, your guru, who represents the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Right? So it's okay in order to purify the karma so that he can come back. So that he definitely can come back. He has full control, Rinpoche. We know that. I can tell you that if you don't. But we need the merits. Okay? Okay, anyway, I wanted to, this part of Rinpoche's story is interesting because Rinpoche at that time had issues with people. Rinpoche is American, he was very brash. Malaysian, being Malaysians, different. It's a cultural difference. So there were many issues that Rinpoche had to go through, and that's why some centers initially had to be closed or offered up to his gurus. And so one day Rinpoche decided to be a model, and there is a few reasons. One of them is Rinpoche's way of reaching out to a new group of students, and another is he had issues in a sense of, actually it's not written here, I think it's okay if I say, he has issues with visa, remaining here. So in order to remain here, he needs to have a working visa, he needs to have a job. And Dharma teacher is not a job. It's there's a different category. So, and usually when it's for another religion, it's not so easy. It's a bit sensitive, so I won't go so much into it, but you understand. All right. So what happened is, so Rinpoche decided to be a model. Actually, that was the period after Rinpoche became a model. That's when I first knew Rinpoche. I got to know Rinpoche at the gym. All right. So that is interesting because the time when I first knew Rinpoche, I have no idea he was a monk. I have no idea who Rinpoche is. Rinpoche. I was told that he was a lecturer of Buddhism. That was what Rinpoche first told me. I was like, okay, that's very interesting. I didn't know they have courses on Buddhism in the universities here. So Rinpoche didn't say in the university, he just said I'm a Buddhist lecturer. It was interesting at that time because, so it got me interested because I had an interest in Buddhism, intellectual interest. So I was starting to read a little bit. It was not easy for me. If you open any Dharma books, as you know, a lot of the Dharma books are quite technical, and even the simple ones are not so easy for me. And I didn't know any simple Dharma books at the time. All I knew were the technical ones from the Theravadan tradition. And so, Rinpoche was modeling, and then that's when I got to know Rinpoche at the gym. And then I didn't immediately become a student, and but Rinpoche was explaining. Rinpoche was very good at explaining. I like Rinpoche's explanations a lot. It helped me understand a lot of concepts, a lot of things in the early days. And I remember this is something Rinpoche remembered, and he reminded me about 4 or 5 years ago. He told me, and did I say that? I told Rinpoche at the early days, don't convert me. Then Rinpoche's like, convert you? Why would I want to convert you? And then, you know what, Rinpoche that time went on this thing about he's not looking for students, he doesn't want students. And ironically, that time when Rinpoche said that, it had an opposite effect on me, in a sense. I wanted to know more, and I got intrigued. And it made me able to become more receptive. It was Rinpoche's way of reaching out to someone like me, because what Rinpoche's message that time was, in his teachings, it was, I'm not the guru, you're not my students, I have the Dharma, please learn. And if it applies to you, right, any of the Dharma Buddha's teachings applies to you, please practice it, because it will benefit you. If it doesn't apply to you, you have no reason for you to practice, no reason for you to embrace. So when I listened, it makes sense. And so since it makes sense, I think why not, And before I knew it, I was calling myself Buddhist. I was doing a sadhana, I was doing practice, I was doing things in the Dharma. All right? So it's, that was how in the earlier days. And there's one more thing I wanted to highlight. What was it already? Yes. A long time ago, this was during the opening of Kechara House, the one in Samewas, the big one, the big center, right? That time my responsibility was to take care of a Theravadan monk. And I had no experience of Theravadan monks. So when he came, he was Sri Lankan, and he was garbed in robes, in saffron yellow robes. And so I was explaining to him about this and that, about Rinpoche, and how he came to open Kechara, what is Rinpoche's message. And as I was explaining, he had no expression on his face. He had a poker face. I was like, am I boring him? I was wondering whether I was boring him, But he had no expression on his face, He was just very placid, not even smiling, So he had no expression on his face. I was like, as I was explaining things, I had to make it more and more exciting, more and more exciting. I was like, something is wrong here, So I don't know, I just did my best and make sure, tell him a lot of stories and try to make, and I know he's a monk, so I don't go too, secular. So I had to stick with the Dharma, and but I tried to make it more funny, more exciting, but I had no reaction from him. So I was thinking, oh my God, I'm such a bad host, I must be boring him, I was thinking that. So later, after the Rinpoche cut the ribbon, did the puja, say hello, everything finished that night, or the next night or something like that, I met Rinpoche, and I was telling Rinpoche my experience. I said, I met this Theravada monk, he's nice, but I think I bored him, He had no expression on his face. No matter how I tried to make it exciting, I was telling him everything about Rinpoche and how this and that. And Rinpoche said, he's a Theravada monk. You think all monks are like me, as animated and excited so that he can entertain you? No, in the Theravadan tradition, monks are trained to reserve, to stay away from expressing emotions, don't express pleasure, because all these are distractions. Okay, so for Theravadan tradition, especially in the forest tradition, you have to stray away, you have to be of equanimity. So what happened is, I can't remember exactly what Rinpoche said explaining the no expression, but in other words, what Rinpoche was saying, that is part of his practice. It's not that he was bored. He was not. So I was like, oh, okay, I understand now, Rinpoche. Phew. So it was interesting. It was quite interesting for me. So why I wanted to tell you this is linked to what Rinpoche said, in a sense that one of his gurus told him to lighten up, relax. Because Rinpoche when he was young, he was very, very traditional. He was very strict, very strict, very traditional, very proper, and so it was Gangchen Rinpoche. One day, Gangchen Rinpoche just slapped him on his arm and said, "Lighten up. You're too traditional. You're too strict. You will not be able to reach your future students like that. You have to relax and you have to lighten up." And Rinpoche thought about it, and he did, and that became the characteristic, funny, outgoing, always cracking jokes, always entertaining his students, always telling jokes in Dharma teachings, always picking on students, making fun. He made Dharma very light. At the same time, although Rinpoche made it very light, but he never wavered. One thing about Rinpoche is, Rinpoche always said, I can change my mind 100,000 times about anything, but for Dharma, I will always be the same. So that is conveyed all the time. Although Rinpoche is very funny, the manner in which the method he always convey may change, may be very light-hearted, but his message is always the same. The Dharma it's always priority. All right. So this is what I wanted to convey, and I thought it matches what was being described here. And it was because of Gangchen Rinpoche that Rinpoche developed this method that he is known today, that a lot of us misses. If you look at my Facebook wall, you will see that some of the things Rinpoche does with me. So then Rinpoche, of course, a lot of the things that Rinpoche did in the earlier part of his life remain consistent to the end of his life. Rinpoche always been delivering the Dharma, giving the Dharma, sharing the Dharma. I mean, teaching is one method. That wasn't Rinpoche's way of his thoughts of helping people and delivering the Dharma, but it's his role as an incarnate Lama. So he embraced it, and when you listen to Rinpoche's teachings, you will not think he is reluctant, but he does express from time to time. But when he teaches, he gives it his all. Yeah, literally he gives it his all, and he can go on for hours. It's only in the later years Rinpoche's energy and level has subsided, so he was not. In the earlier days, I remember when I first met Rinpoche, right? Rinpoche can give Dharma teachings for 2, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours straight. Yeah, straight, non-stop. Of course, when he look at his audience, Rinpoche is very in tune with his audience. It's not like you and me sharing the Dharma. I'm not so in tune. You are not so in tune. Sometimes you tell the Dharma when people have already fallen asleep. We're still going on about Lama Tsongkhapa. Have you noticed when people's attention has wavered, we don't notice it. But Rinpoche is very in tune. Rinpoche will crack a joke at the right moment. Rinpoche will say something at the right moment to wake us up. I've noticed this, and because, why I notice this? Because I'm able to keep awake. I'm able to keep awake during Rinpoche's hours and hours. I remember Rinpoche gave teachings 4 or 5 hours. I was awake the whole time, and actually paying attention some more, which is amazing for me. So I noticed that, because anyone else, the best intentions of the other Dharma teachers and students and pastors, sometimes when people talk, they are not able to maintain the attention because not so in tune. So, but Rinpoche is very in tune with his audience, very much in tune. And sometimes Rinpoche would tell us, if it's a senior student, he would tell us, oh, wake up, Sometimes if it's not a student, Rinpoche will not be so direct, so he cracks a joke. Whatever way he does it to make sure that whatever message, because a lot of Rinpoche's teachings, the reason why Rinpoche's, he doesn't follow the subject level, like how we teach Dharma now, follow Lam Rim, impermanence, blah, 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 follow a certain order of the topics according to the Lam Rim. Rinpoche does not follow that because Rinpoche follows the need, intuition, based on our need, based on the current situation in Kechara and the students themselves. Sometimes he gets a feeling and he will teach. Many times it happens like that. And then, when he teaches one subject, it will not be one subject, it will cover many areas of a particular subject and perhaps many topics. And it will hit every single one of us one way or another. And that's the special quality of Rinpoche that unfortunately I do not have. And I'm sorry I didn't hit you. if it didn't answer your question or solve your doubts or whatever it is. But that is Rinpoche. Okay, I am me, so I will deliver as much as I know. Whatever I know comes from Rinpoche anyway. You know that. So whatever it is, so Rinpoche's method is from his young to now. One of the things Rinpoche conveys the Dharma is through images, Dharma images. He always encourages to have altars. He always encourages to have statues, pendants, tankas, images of the Buddhas. And Rinpoche did divulge why that's important for us. And in the monastery, for the monks and the not as important for yogi, because a lot of meditators, they don't need any image at all. All the Buddhas are in their heart, in their mind, is because they do a lot of practice, and because they're monks and nuns. So it's non-attachment, firstly, to a material object. Secondly, it's also for them, their vows collect merit. For us, we don't collect that much merit. We hardly do much Dharma, and the Dharma work we do is so little. So our avenue of collecting merits is very little, and the sadhanas we do is just quick 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. And how much can you purify? How much merit can we accumulate? So a huge source of our merits for many of us comes from the images that we invest in, comes from the offerings we make on a daily basis. And the sadhanas, once we do the offering, the effect is stronger. When we make the offering, when we pray, I make offerings to Lama Tsongkhapa of this and that, it's not just words. You actually made the offering in front of the altar. So when you make the offering, you collect the merits. Okay? So it's translated as merits. So, but it's not just to an empty wall, not to just a visualization, it's to a statue, an image, consecrated. How you consecrate, fortunate for some of us, it's been consecrated by Rinpoche or a pastor. You can consecrate yourself as well. Rinpoche did say, anybody can bless your own images. With the correct liturgies, with the correct mantras, you can bless them. And why do we need to bless it? So that when we invite the energy of the enlightened beings to recite that, so what happens is when we do, the effect is stronger. All right? So that is one of Rinpoche's passion, and there became several departments. It became a department called Kechara Discovery, making statues. It became a department called Kechara Saraswati Arts, which was to fill with mantras, traditional, to consecrate the statue, because the statues are usually empty, to fill it traditionally with mantras and images so that it's consecrated. The idea of it is so that it multiplies the benefit for us, the person owning the image, doing the offerings, doing the prayers. So when you make the offerings, it's multiplied to all the speech within. The mantra is speech, the speech of the Buddha within, and the images. Some of them, the roles is images of line drawings of various types of Buddhas. Some of them is pen drive that contains hundreds and millions of various Buddhas. All right, so it's placed inside. So when you make, it's multiplied the effect. All right, this is taught by Rinpoche, and we have Dharma. There is a thorough explanation on Rinpoche's blog explaining this. That is why in Kechara, the bigger the image we have, the more merits. This is not a Rinpoche teaching, this is in the scriptures. All right. So there's the department Kechara Paradise, which supplies these Kechara. Now we have Vajra Secrets, which even transcends to another level where it's made available internationally, and so you can have images, you can have tankas, you can have prayer items all over, and also that's department of that began in Rinpoche's childhood. How does it begin in Rinpoche's childhood? Remember when Rinpoche used to draw as a little child, Tara, Buddha, in a very rough image, and then he would laminate it and put the string, and he gave it to people, and it becomes Buddha pendants now. So he encouraged people to wear Buddha pendants. Why? Rinpoche feels that the Buddha will protect them. And how does it protect them? Because they're wearing it. It touches their body, it blesses them. So when it touches and blesses them, what happens is, let's say, touch wood, when it's their last moment, the Buddha pendant will be the last thing that touches their body, that will bless them as the person leaves. And also for those who see the person, a lot of Rinpoche makes it fashionable, it's beautiful, it's with jewels and stuff like that, with nice design, so people admire it and people will look at it, and so they get a blessing from the Buddha. So there's many, many benefits from what Rinpoche, have a passion for in the childhood all the way to adult. When Rinpoche was young, because he had no money, no resources, so he had to draw. Then later on, when he grew older, he got a little bit of money, he photocopied. Then later on, when he came to Malaysia, what Rinpoche used to do is Rinpoche would look for statue makers. And the initial first statue, because the earlier statues from Nepal was not easy. It's not easy to come by in the early days. So Rinpoche would go to, I think there was a statue maker in Penang Rinpoche used to go to, and he would make plastic statues. And the early first generation of statues Rinpoche used to make was plastic. And then I think there was clay as well. And then later on, Rinpoche brought in from Nepal and India and imported them. When Rinpoche settled down in Malaysia more, he imported them. And then later on, we make them. And that's why we have Kechara Paradise today. And the images on your altars, for you, many of you Kecharians come from Rinpoche's lifelong passion. It's a lifelong passion. And Rinpoche constantly is looking to improve the statues, to make more statues, to make it available. And in one of the preliminary practices is to make tsatsas, make Buddha images. It can be tsatsas, it can be Buddha images, but traditionally it's tsatsas, 100,000. So Rinpoche had made more than 100,000 in his lifetime. Definitely more. I remember for some people, their pujas is to sponsor statues, to make statues. When I first knew Rinpoche, the early days, there was a puja for someone, I don't know who it was, and Kalista asks a question, okay? Can we wear Buddha pendant when we are sleeping? Yeah, why not? We can. There's no reason. You can take it off if you feel it's disrespectful, but you can wear it. The idea of the Buddha pendant, so it always touches you. So in case, actually that's one of the motivation that Rinpoche have for people wearing Buddha pendants, is that in case we pass away in our sleep, one of the last things that touches our body is a Buddha pendant. So as we die, let's say we die in our sleep, so the blessings of the Buddha is there as we die. That is one of Rinpoche's motivation, and we can even wear it when we shower. It's not a problem. Rinpoche said actually by right it shouldn't be. It's not very respectful. But for a Buddha pendant, Rinpoche has the motivation that we have it on us all the time to bless us. All right. So Buddha pendants, well, it depends on you. For me, I usually take it off because my skin is a little allergic to metals, all sorts of metals, and I usually do not like to wear something around, but when I can, I do. And which reminds me, I need to get a proper string, proper chain for my Buddha pendant so I can wear it more. Yeah. And where was I? Yeah, I was talking of the different departments. I was talking about, and also Rinpoche has a passion for rituals and pujas. Not so much as a passion, but it's a need for people to gain some sort of rituals done so that it alleviates their problems. So we have a puja house, and it's also a resource for the Kechara organization. And by right, selling of Buddha images is negative karma. For profit, it is negative karma for the person consuming it. But because the money that goes into Kechara is not benefiting anybody per se, nobody really profits. So it's for actually the organization to make more Buddha images. You see, it is to spread the Dharma or to make more Buddha images. So it doesn't really go into some particular pocket. The Rinpoche is very strict about it, where the money is channeled to. So there are certain funds for certain things. So Rinpoche made it sure when he was alive, we make sure that the funds that are from Buddha images, body, speech, and mind of the Buddha, doesn't go into anybody's pocket. It goes back into the Dharma itself. So in that way, you do not incur negative karma. Rinpoche is very skillful in that. And so what happens is, why when we, like our Buddha images, it's very important for you guys to know, if you hit hard times, if you have financial difficulty, do not sell your Buddha image. Do not sell your Buddha statue, your Tsongkhapa statue, your Dorje Shugden statue. Never do that. Never sell Buddha image in order to profit from it. You incur a lot of negative karma. Tremendous. In the Lamrim it said so. You incur a lot of negative karma, and what happens is you shorten your lifespan. You do. Because you are selling a Buddha body. So when you sell for profit, you incur negative karma. And I remember a Lamrim story. This is not told by Rinpoche, this is something I read in Lamrim. There was a high practitioner, a yogi, and his sponsor hit hard times. But he was sponsoring this yogi. So what happened was, at one time he had a collection of a lot of scriptures, specifically Prajna Paramita scriptures. So what happened was he sold it, and then with the money he sponsored. Part of it he used it on himself for his livelihood. Part of it he sponsored this yogi. And when the yogi received a donation to buy food and feed himself, he fell ill. He became very ill, and he doesn't know why, and he was in a lot of pain. And this yogi is highly attained, He was in a lot of pain, and he had his idam is one of the Buddhas, I forgot, could be Manjushri or Kuan Yin, Avalokiteshvara. And he consulted because he had visions of the Buddha, and he asked, why am I going through this obstacle? He doesn't understand because it was tremendous. He couldn't concentrate on his meditations. So his idam told the money that you have been consuming comes from the body, speech, and mind. You have to do certain pujas to purify it. It's very serious, the karma. So the yogi ended into meditation. He forced himself into meditation, and in his body he saw the letter R circling in his body. And he understood what it meant already. It's because the karma of R is speech of the Buddha. The karma comes from the sale of a Prajna Paramita, a Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. So it was circling him, meaning he has absorbed the negative karma. So he was in a lot of pain. And the Yidam told him, you are very lucky because you have a lot of merits, and that's why you are experiencing the negative karma now. For a lot of normal beings whose merit is not as high, they will not experience it immediately, but they will get it later. Okay, I remember this story very clearly, and I want to tell you, and to make sure everybody who listens to me understand this, it's very important. Never sell, no matter how strapped you are financially, never sell your body, speech, and mind, which is Buddha, which is Dharma texts, Dharma books. Never sell them for profit for yourself. Dharma texts, Buddha images, stupas. Never sell them for profit. The negative karma is very heavy. Understand this, all right? So Rinpoche makes it available. And in fact, Rinpoche, when people offer it to him, and Rinpoche himself will buy, and when he buys, he never asks for discount. He always insists he pay in full price. And he will raise the funds to get it, and he will give it. In fact, a lot of you guys, I'm sure, has received a statue or two from Rinpoche, or a Dharma book or two from Rinpoche. All this has been sponsored by people. And Rinpoche will never sell them, and you yourself should never do that. Okay, because I came across someone who did it, not in Kechara, other people. I've been trying to tell them, don't do that. It's very bad. So it's very, very bad karma to sell Buddha images. No matter what your situation is like, you find another way, ask, borrow. The karma is not as heavy than if you sell your Buddha images, or you sell your Dharma items. All right? Okay, I've come to the various departments are all Rinpoche's, a manifestation of Rinpoche's passions in life. From Kechara house is to spread the Dharma. That was actually more of Rinpoche's instruction from his guru. That's how he started Kechara house. But it became Rinpoche's passion anyway, to foster the growth of Dharma in people, to teach the Dharma, for people to do pujas. And then then we have KSA, KD, we have pilgrimages. Rinpoche also have Rinpoche's lifelong passion is to bring his parents to pilgrimage. Unfortunately, he was not able to, so he bring other people's parents. My father was brought on pilgrimage to Bodh Gaya and all the holy places, and it was requested of Rinpoche from Rinpoche because he could not do it for his own parents. He actually made sure that we did, and I'm very grateful. Although we were very busy, I managed to bring my father, before he passed away, to pilgrimage to all the holy sites in India and Nepal. Okay, and all the various departments like KSK and all that were founded based on Rinpoche's passion of feeding the homeless and doing charity work, and that was something it's Rinpoche's passion. Rinpoche did it, although he was not. It's not in protocol for Rinpoche to do it himself. He did it himself, and he's been doing it ever since. Even with KSK around, Rinpoche, even on his own, he would always, when he sees homeless, when he sees someone who he feels needs help genuinely, he will buy food, he will give it to them. Personally, he will ask us, his students, to help him do that. All right? So, and also Rinpoche's passion for animals, and all that. There are many, many departments that I may not have touched. Vegetarianism was one of Rinpoche's passion because it involves killing. Not being vegetarian kills, but eating meat incurs a part of the karma of killing. It's not the full brunt of the karma because you are not the one killing, but you definitely have a bit of the karma, the collective karma of killing. Because where does the meat come from? It comes from a slaughtered animal. Where does the karma go to? It goes to the people who slaughtered. It goes to the people who ordered the slaughter. We may not be the person ordering the slaughter of the animal, but we created the demand for it. So definitely we get the karma. So that is Rinpoche's message for people, and that's why if you want to live long, if you want to live healthy, you want to create the karma to live long and healthy, vegetarianism is one of the main cause for that. It will not ensure you live to 100 years old, because all of us have many karma from a long time, from many, many lifetimes, but it will create the cause for it. All right? So, and Buddha images I did explain, and also delivering the Dharma on the blog. Online, Rinpoche in the beginning was not particularly techno-savvy, but it was because of some of his students who brought Rinpoche's teachings online and set up websites, and then Rinpoche got onto it, and he realized the potential, and that's why Rinpoche started off his blog, his personal blog, in order to convey the Dharma and to outreach to a global audience, So we have a lot of people from around the world tuning into the Dharma, tuning into reading Rinpoche's teachings, listening to Rinpoche on YouTube, and it becomes a platform for us. Even Rinpoche is not around, his teachings are still being spread around the world. Okay, so we can keep Rinpoche's teachings alive and proliferate it by spreading it, by listening to it by ourselves and recommending to people, So that is one of Rinpoche's wonderful way of spreading the Dharma. Suzin Tiao, Pastor, many years ago, someone wanted to sell her beautiful deer statue to me, but in the end, it didn't work out. If I bought it, will I receive bad karma too? No, Suzanne, you will not, but the person who sold it will. Yeah, the person who sold it will. It will incur negative karma for that person, unfortunately. Unfortunately, due to ignorance, not knowing the Dharma. So you cannot sell Buddha images. It is you can do it, but it's very heavy negative karma. Do not do that. No matter how bad you are. So that was my message. It comes to me right now to let you know, because not many people know this, but it is very important for us to know. So no matter how bad our financial situation is, do not sell it. And find other ways, because there's so many ways to get financial help. Don't look the easy way by selling our statues, outstanding our Dharma items. It's inauspicious also for our practice, and it's heavy negative karma. It is a few things combined that's not good for us. Okay, so I'll come to an end. Generally, the main thing was Dorje Shugden. Dorje Shugden had been a central position in Rinpoche's life, in a sense, ever since it was given to him as a practice from Kechara Rinpoche, who told him, I will give you my Dharma protector. And because of the situation that arisen due to the controversy, it became a point of contention for a lot of people, of a lot of misunderstanding. So Rinpoche's work was to dispel the misunderstanding of Dorje Shugden, and it became his life's work. And that is part of the reason why Rinpoche promotes the practice, because he saw through the controversy was not to ban the practice. It is actually to proliferate through a skillful means, through a means of a higher way that we may not fully understand. We probably will never fully understand. But what happens is, Rinpoche said, through his wisdom, he saw through that it is to benefit a lot of people. And he himself has proliferated to a lot of people on a personal basis, and he has helped a lot of Kecharians, a lot of people overseas. And through Rinpoche's experience, through my experience, through what I've seen in Kechara, through what I've observed, through my own experience, and through what I observe as in people doing the practice and what they have received from Dorje Shugden, I can tell you for sure, it's only benefit. All right, so since it's so beneficial, that's why it became a central practice in Kechara. That originally it's not meant in our tradition, but it's a central practice in Kechara because it's very, very beneficial. And it's very beneficial for our Dharma practice, for the growth of our own Dharma. It's very beneficial for our lives, secular and spiritual. So it is, and he's in Manjushri. Okay, Doji is Manjushri. Rinpoche always spread him in a basis that he's Manjushri, he's Rafu Manjushri. So we should have that in mind. So that is why we have a huge image, and that's why we have a website. That's why one of the most articles online is on Doji Shuken, and is to dispel the misconception about Doji Shuken, is to make clear what Doji Shuken's practice is about and how it benefits, and how the controversy and the misconceptions about Doji Shuken is not, it is for a particular purpose. And Rinpoche does it very well, probably better than me, so I will not go into it right now, and this is not the platform for it, but I have videos on it. I've done with some of our Dharma brothers and sisters here in Kechara to talk about the controversy, to talk about why it is effective and how it is effective and how to engage in the practice. There's many videos on that, both in English and Chinese. If you are interested, please look up on these videos and ask if you have trouble finding it. All right, because we have so many videos these days, so it may be confusing and may be difficult to look. So just ask, if you have a particular angle. Thank you very much, everybody. I will come to an end. Next week will be my final session for the book club on the promise. So I will give you a summary next week. We will talk in general about Rinpoche's life. We will go about highlights of Rinpoche's life, and then we will go into Jacinta's requests about Rinpoche's passing. Okay? Thank you very much. I will do dedication now. Jaju Central Rinpoche, Maki Panagushe, Keba Yama Mipayang, Gone Go to Pewasho, Tony Tonga Rinpoche, Maki Panagushe, Keba Yama Mipayang, Gone Go to Pewasho. Dazo Genes Abagewadi, Tanadra Gunlakapata, Jeba Jezo, Lozon Drapa, Tamping Brundo, Sao Sho, Kewa Gunto Yana Lamada, Jemi Choki Pala Long Chaching, Sada Langi on Tanrachuni, Doji Changi Go Bang Yotosho, Gewadi Yutuda, Lama Sange Juhuni, Juachi Malupa de Salago Basho, Chuju Jabo Song. Gaba choso nama pewala gege shama jiwadan tuni malo shawasho dada shenge do sundan George latani gyawalo sundra ba tampari va gyoshe ni modala santala ni me going dala shin yasanta tu dala pe conjuson gyolo conjuson modoso conjuson tashi sho jason lama kusora to chin namka chin ju ki bada lo san temi join samsung ge do so tak to ne gyoshe gangri ra be ko shin dam de benen da malo kyong ina channel sing one tan gyaso shabe si de ba do dan gyoshe hong to be ngodro malo ba deni dala sa so Golden Temple Lojana gave us such a shook there. So thank you everybody. Have a good weekend.